Yes. Now another new statement, or rather excerpts from Putin's speeches, continue to come out. Let me say holistically from the very beginning, we are approaching a dangerous line. Russia, which has the largest arsenal of nuclear weapons in the West, is not suffering a strategic defeat. There were others. I'm bringing new ones. To make it whole calls for direction. It shows the ugly adventurism of Western politicians. We left it here, and then a new one arrived. No one can guarantee that nuclear weapons will not be used by the West. There is a new chapter in which Putin again says that the world needs Russia. Trump congratulates. He says we are ready for dialogue with Trump. And then I find Donald Trump's statements on the Ukraine crisis remarkable. They bullied Trump in his first term. I was impressed by Trump's behavior during the assassination attempt. He was brave. Are they listening to us? Are we listening to him and drifting like this? Almost whatever we are talking about, Putin is on the program remotely from Russia. As the fourth guest, Putin is with us as if he were a guest. Now, when we look from here, meet Abi, are Putin's sentences sincere? I mean, if he says that Donald Trump can really take part in the solution of this issue, I will also meet with him. If he says we will do it, is this really what he says? Or can we read it the other way around in terms of politics, in terms of policy, in terms of defense?
So let's put it this way. Is Russia tired? It is tired. No. Does Russia want to get out of this? It wants to get out. And he wants to do it without losing prestige, right? So at the moment, if he wants peace, will it lose prestige? I think not. It's like a victory he can offer. You know, when you look at it, he begged. I mean, he took things. Donetsk never gave Monetsk back to anyone. He says, don't start with Kyiv, we'll finish with Kyiv. But in the end, he achieved a goal. He fulfilled his original purpose, the beginning. Now, let me ask you this. Russia for peace. A compromise? In what sense, brother? Let me give you an example.
I have to listen to the options first. I need to hear the options before I respond.
Is it? No. I'm not going to ask for anything. Luang Sin with Russia Donetsk? He annexed himself, you know. Give it back. Guarantor writes over about signing a treaty with his claim?
I think not, because they are already involved. If you look at them, in Russia's eyes, they joined him. He feels obliged to protect them. He can.
Like a guarantee. There's an autonomous region.
Oh yeah, there's a...
Guarantees, but he gives one by one. I'll come there. He'll withdraw his troops, but this place will be autonomous and you'll say, get out. You won't join NATO. Guaranteed, or the EU. And I'll tell you, I'll sign a non-aggression pact. This could all happen, I'll tell you that. I'm a big man and I've beaten you too much.
Your purpose, 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 your
I'll say
purpose,
it one more time.
your purpose, your purpose, your
Because
purpose, your purpose, your
the
purpose.
real big showdown is Russia. Will not be between China and the United States. The big showdown will be between China and the US. Like, if you remember here, what did we say when we were talking? What did Hakan Fidan say when we asked him if he could tell us about the next 4 years? Russia and the US? No, between the US and China.
Zulaiha from China, Hotpine from China, and Keplicik State.
Military, diplomatic, political. We expect conflicts on all kinds of commercial issues. Some of them will be hot, some will be tense. This is how these 4 years will pass. This is what we expect from our point of view. And what about the 17 million square kilometers? And only for a country with a population of just over 100 million. Is it more important to be in the fight? Or does it need a period in which it gets a little bit stronger to protect its borders? I think the latter. Instead of extra territory, I think Russia needs time to protect 17 million square kilometers. That's why the Luhansk and Donetsk. Russia can go as far as giving Russia back in terms of its property structure and the right to be a guarantor over it. I am saying it once again. I am saying something so assertive. Because 17 million square kilometers, friends, it is not such a small area. 780,000 square kilometers. That's half the size of the world. 17
Did you make it out of meta?
kilometers. When you take it out, the world becomes much smaller. 17 million square kilometers. And population. There's no population to protect it. It has a population of 130, probably 130 million. There isn't one. And he's not of Russian descent. Now, Putin is very intelligence background. Some of the missions he works on are strategic research missions. He goes on special missions abroad. He is working on, is not planning for today. Now we often think that the origins of intelligence work with the current intelligence mindset. No, actually, intelligence does not investigate the present. Intelligence actually investigates the future. It makes a prediction about the future. It puts this prediction in front of what it brings. It puts it in front of decision-making and asks him to help plan it. And now, is there a need to put it in front of Putin? Putin already comes from this background. He knows very well how to push. He also knows what to demand and how to demand it. In the scenario in front of you, do you think Putin, would he want to be in a bigger fight? That is the question, net.
Severe.
Let's open it, Hodja.
Let's open it.
I mean, I don't know.
So now, because he was an experienced person, because he thought that he was actually reluctant to fight, and Severe was not performing as he wanted, he deliberately offended him in front of the cameras. He refused him. That was to set Severe up. So Severe because it didn't perform the way he wanted it to. In Putin's system, the three intelligence services, foreign intelligence, GRU military intelligence, FSB domestic intelligence. There is also the FSO protection organization. These three intelligence services are balancing each other out. None of them should be more powerful than the other, so that Putin and the Sloviki ring around him remain in power. If one service becomes stronger in a stronger system, like Prigozhin, for example, he became stronger,
Let it come
right,
out,
in
yes,
quotes,
yeah.
somehow to be liquidated. Or a Sloviki, they say Sloviki billion. It's like when they don't do what Putin wants and they fall off the balcony. So falling off the balcony is a symbol. It's a deliberate horse. Everybody's going to slip. Falling off the balcony means the FSB did it. So that message, falling off the balcony, slipping. It's not like that in the apartment, so this system is there. But now in this system, for example, don't think of it as something. Don't think of it as an intermittent. But instead of energy and oil, yes, the Slovakians get a big share, but in a system that spreads downwards to the people. Well, for example, when you go out on the streets, I think in Russia, in terms of Russians, but of Russian origin, I think the support for Putin is very high. Despite this economic war, I think the Russian people are against Putin because they are in a good situation compared to the past. So there is a high favoritism. Even if there are completely free elections, I think it is quite possible for Putin to stay in power for such a long time. He also plays the image of power very well, the symbols of power, the way he does business, hardness.